wings in a minute.
Just do it. Believe in yourself. All right. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Maxwell Starr. Tonight, we're going to take a look at something from Collective Arts. Go figure. It's not like we've never looked at these guys on Beer Analysis 101 before. Tonight, we're looking at Jam Up the Mash Dry Hop Sour from Hamilton, Ontario. First and foremost, let's start off on the who's here on the panel, the who's who. And we'll start off with somebody we haven't seen in a dog's age, it seems.
Hamilton, Ontario.
Mr. Turn your microphone down. Thank you.
Fail.
All right.
In the chat.
Technological fail. You're going to get kicked out of the.
How unprofessional.
Very. All right. Speaking of professionals, yes, the first person we haven't seen in a long time, of course, is Mr. Joe, the Beer Patrol, who's looking real slim these days. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you, Nick? You doing all right?
Oh, not as good as you are.
They don't make Milkman uniforms.
Yeah, do not turn this dark, please. Do not.
Oh, God.
No Milkman uniform ever, Greg, unless you're wearing one for the beer burglar.
Do it.
Anyway, moving along to the next one, to the side there from Joe, Mr. Ashley Sexton. How are you doing tonight?
I had an impromptu day off from work because of the ice storm of 2019.
Is that why you lost power?
Yes,
Dude,
sir.
we're a freaking outdoor mall. Your store's under a tent, so yes.
Yeah, you're 100% accurate for once.
Not very resistant to ice, then.
No.
Yeah. All right, and next one up, of course, we got Mr. Redbeard. How you doing tonight, Mr. Redbeard? You can't mute the microphone.
I'm good now. Yeah, it was good. I just didn't realize my tablet wasn't muted. It usually is. I apologize. Thanks so much for having me, Macwell. I appreciate being here. It's always fun. Looking forward to having the fancy Collective Arts artwork beer once again. Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, once again, Collective Arts has got the strange, the artwork all over the cans. I think I might actually have the same can as Joe.
I think we pretty much all had the different ones. No, Joe and you could fail. Oh, actually, and Chris had the same as me, I think. Terrible.
Anyway, moving along to Mr. Lee, I believe, is next.
Yeah, Lee. Are you believe or you're not sure? What?
I'm just checking. It's been a couple weeks since he's been on.
Should we let him get his shit together?
Okay, so just to I'm doing fine, by the way. You didn't really ask me or anything, but just to
Greg wouldn't stop talking.
Oh, of course. Just to paraphrase the great band that this beer obviously rips its name off from, the MC5. Kick out the jams, motherfucker. Let's get this thing going.
MC5. All righty. Moving along over to Mr. Was it PJ Honeycutt? Mr. Greg, or not Greg? Fuck. Chris.
Yes, Nick.
Off the 10th.
Well, we do look the exact same.
Failure. Shut up.
I feel like my mute wasn't that bad now.
You know, I'm going to do everyone a favor right now and just mute the fuck out of Greg because he keeps cutting us off. But anyway, thank you, Macwell, for letting me join you tonight on the beer and.
Oh.
All right, Greg, don't do that.
Oh.
You son of a bitch. We're gonna go there. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you for having me. I can't wait to do this excellent beer review from Collective Arts. Thank you.
Right on. And of course, last but certainly least, Greg. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Nick. Fuck you. And no one else wants to join your chat. I'm still here. So, hey, cheers as your only friend.
You are literally here every week. You're the only one other than me who has never missed an episode of Beer Analysis 101. And that's because I run them now.
That's right. See, Chris, it'll be funnier if you did it later in the chat. Now you're just blowing your load too early.
Dear God. All right, so let's move over to Mash Up the Jam. I'll talk over Greg so I can get the history out. Collective Arts Jam with the Mash. I won't get too deep into Collective Arts history because we've done them several times before. But for a quick recap, Collective Arts Brewing was founded in the summer of 2013 by Matt Johnson and Bob Russell, along with brewmaster Ryan Morrow, a contract brewing space thanks to Nickelbrook Brewing. Collective Arts introduced their first beer, Rhyme and Reason Extra Pale Ale, on September 9th, 2013. In 2014, they openly They jointly opened the Cooperative Arts and Science Brewery with Nickelbrook at the former Lakeport Brewing Facility in Hamilton, Ontario. In 2017, Collective Arts. Who's got the microphone unmuted? Yeah, we muted you, Redbeard. All right. Where were we? Collective Arts agreed to buy out. In 2017, Collective Arts agreed to buy out Nickelbrook's remaining shares in the brewery, and following this, they were able to expand production and distribution across Canada and into the U.S. Well, I'd certainly like to get some fresh stuff from Collective Arts these days in New Brunswick. Collective Arts is also notable for supporting local arts community, featuring artwork from local artists prominently on the labels of their cans. And I noticed that it's not just local artists anymore. If you look at some of them, you'll see where the artwork is actually like from some guy in the Czech Republic or in Japan. I don't know where it's written. Okay,
my guy's from Toronto, Ontario.
Yeah, mine's from Toronto, Ontario, but I noticed that there was a couple of label artworks that were from like the Czech Republic or Japanese.
I've seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Collective Arts now has a core lineup of 11 beers, including Rhyme and Reason Pale Ale, Ransack the Universe IPA, Life in the Clouds Hazy IPA, Radio the Mothership Imperial IPA, I think that's still one of them, Surround Sound, which is a double dry hopped double IPA featuring a rotating hop bill, and also there's many more, such as the Project Series featuring the likes of Project IPA, which is currently on iteration number 8. Collective Arts Jam Up the Mash is a 5.2% ABV. Is their website accurate? Yep, 5.2% ABV dry hopped sour ale brewed using, according to their website, Nelson Sauvin hops from New Zealand and Vic Secret hops from the Yakima Valley.
Can I correct you?
Yep. Our can, on the other hand, it actually says that it uses Vic Secret, Citra, and Mosaic. And I think before we started the show, we verified that everybody's can says the same thing.
Yeah.
So the website's fucking wrong. Piece of shit.
It's like when they changed from mash up the jam to jam up the mash, they actually changed the beer as well, I think. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, depending upon, because I think Nelson Sauvin is really hard to brew with and also expensive, if I recall correctly.
They got to justify their prices. Sorry.
And since Redbeard already spoiled it, this beer was previously called Mash Up the Jam. The beer was first released in January 2018 and was based off the original Project Dry Hop Sour, which came out in 2017. The beer underwent a name change to Jam Up the Mash in August 2018 to avoid an infringement case with another similarly named beer. Whereas it's apparently the same beer, although how can you have the same beer with different hops, I guess?
It'd be nice to know what the actual infringement beer was. Like who else had? I never heard of another beer called.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I even checked Untapped and I found some guy's homebrew from like Europe somewhere. Anyway, moving right along to the course, the first and foremost. Joe, how are you doing tonight? And what is your history of Collective Arts? Jam Up the Mash or whatever.
I'm doing great, although I think you've asked that once already. I've only had this once, and that was at the 2018 Albino Rhino Beer Festival.
Ooh.
And because I got there late for circumstances beyond my control, I was not hammered. And I just remember it being super like crushable and refreshing, especially in late spring when his festival takes place. So I enjoyed it when I had it then. But that's the only time I had it.
Nice. All right, moving along to Mr. Ashley Sexton. What's your history with this beer?
I'm pretty sure I've had this before. Probably this past summer. I don't think I had it at the fest, thinking I probably already had it. But checking on tap, I haven't tapped it in. So let's just say I'm trying this again for the second time.
So the first time in the first time. Well, I mean, technically it's a name change, right?
It is. So there we go. New to me.
Hop change too, so got to be a different beer. All right, Mr. Redbeard, what's your history with this beer?
I have had this a couple times. I reviewed it on my channel, and then I re-reviewed it when they changed the name because I wasn't sure if they changed the name or just changed it up. But according to like what we were talking about before, they changed the name and possibly changed the beer as well a little bit. But yeah, I've had a couple cans at this point, and Collective Arts overall I've been a pretty big fan of. I just have some serious issues with some of their pricing habits, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because apparently the IPA series has got more expensive. You guys are upset over paying $5 for a beer, which is normal life in New Brunswick. So,
well, it's not here, so it's very not normal to pay $5 for a can of beer in Ontario.
I don't like the idea of paying more than $5 for a beer like this anyway. It's just, I think this was $5 for me. Anyway, all right. Moving right along to Lee, who's been, very nice. And is it Lee next? Fuck, get the order mixed up. Yes, it is Lee. Who was very nice to actually muted himself so he doesn't make any noise.
I didn't mean to make noise, goddamn.
I mean, only was king of beer tube 1 point. What can I say? I've had this once before. It was a few months ago, I think it was, when I had it. Liked it when I had it, and that's about it. That's about my history with it. I'm usually not too big into sours all that much, so I didn't really bother picking it up again until we were like, hey, let's do it for BA 101. So I was like, all right, I can still get that shit, so let's do it. That's my history.
Nice. Worked. It's sweet or sour, I guess. Okay, Mr. Chris, off the 10th, what's your history with this beer?
I have had this beer. I had it back in March. I gave it a score. I'm not going to tell you what I gave it, but I did give it a score, and I really enjoy sour beer. So that's a little bit of a, I don't know. It's a beer. So we're gonna just say that. But yeah. So I've had this beer. When Joe came down for the Albino Rhino Beer Festival, when we went to Collective Arts, I don't think we actually had it. Did we have it? I don't remember. No, we didn't have it at the Collective Arts, so we only had it at the festival. But anyway, that's all. That's my history with this beer. I love Collective Arts. Thank you.
Nice. All right, Mr. Greg, what's your history with jam at the mash up the jam, what have you?
I have zero history with it. I've never had it before. So I'm losing my virginity yet again on camera. So, Nick, you seem a little crusty tonight. I hope whatever is bugging you tonight perhaps will be solved with some alcohol, because you seem a little grumpy, especially towards Redbeard tonight, who seems to be in fine form, I must say. Good for you, Redbeard.
Oh, Redbeard's fine. Anyway.
Alcohol might solve the problem if you fall asleep on camera again.
Exactly. In a very meme-worthy position. Which may happen because, the camera angle you're using is a little lower now, thanks to that new stand.
Well, true. Well, usually my drunken self knows to turn off the camera at first sign of drunken sleep. But one of these days, you guys will catch me again.
One of these days, you'll have to drink a stronger beer on Beer Analysis 101 so you get drunk faster.
Yeah. Then again, that backfired last time we did a strong beer and you got shit-faced off for 10.
No, it was
St. Bernard's time I was here.
I think it was St. Bernard's 12.
That's the one, yeah.
Right.
After you tell us your history, Nick, I have some information on the beer name.
Oh, right. Fine. Okay. Anyway, my history with Mash Up the Jam sounds a lot like everybody else's here. Some of them, anyway. I had Mash Up the Jam at the Albino Rhino Beer Fest. That's the only time I had it. I forget what I gave for rating, but I think I liked it. Pretty sure I did. Anyway.
Yeah, probably 3.75.
Shut up.
That's probably accurate.
I'm pretty sure that's actually it. I'll look it up later. Anyway, so I would normally at this point move over to the comments, and we will get to that because I see there's lots of them there that for once.
From us.
Mr. Joe, what were you saying about the name of the beer?
So doing a quick Google search, I have come to, I guess realize, but also be informed that they changed the name from Mash Up the Jam to Jam Up the Mash to avoid any conflicts with the popular beer name Pump Up the Jam from the Tiny Rebel Brewing Company over in the UK, which makes sense because they started getting distribution or started getting their beers over in the UK last year, hence why Craig can pick stuff up. So I think Tiny Rebel, I don't know if they're a huge brewery, but I know they're pretty well known. I've seen other UK beer tubers review some of their stuff. So they probably, considering that they're now just distributing over there, they're probably like, let's avoid any issues and change the name.
I feel like Tiny Rebel would have to just be, like, I had some pretty good lawyers, though, those names are pretty different. Different enough.
They are, but if like, I don't know if Collective Jams has perhaps, collabed with Tiny Rebel, or maybe they're friends with Tiny Rebel, and then maybe Tiny Rebel indicated, hey, it's similar. You might confuse the consumers because
you just called Collective Arts Collective Jams, by the way.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's great. That's the Collective Jams. Maybe they'll change their name, but no, seriously.
Maybe they will.
I just feel like Collective Arts beers are very, very noticeable, and they're all like they've got a very kind of easy to recognize style going on with their beers, and to mix it up, and the names are pretty different. I feel like they were just like preemptively bending over and being like, we're scared of you or something.
Maybe it was a misprint on a canning line, and they just made up that story to cover their asses.
Maybe
right.
Right. I'll just say, I feel like
we're a little off topic here. Sort of on topic, but we're off topic. We can talk about this later. Let's get over to the comments. These people are getting angry that we're not reading their crap on screen here.
Yeah, rude, Nick.
Yeah. Anybody want to volunteer other than Greg?
I'll volunteer.
Greg?
I would do it, but I'll be interrupted.
I'll do it.
Lee'll do it. Go ahead, Lee.
All right, so Craig from Kim Beer Reviews is in here. This is saying cheers. A bunch of us are in this thing, just talking to everyone who's shown up in here. Eric Gilbert shows up saying cheers, fools. Lincoln Rowley is here saying, Red, I'm here.
He was in a live stream of mine. I have to say cheers. Welcome. Thanks for coming by.
Cheers, Lincoln.
There you go. And Eric Gilbert says you can have Collective Arts in the UK. Lincoln says you sound different than I thought you would. Craig from Kent Beer Review says Tiny Rebel are from Newport, Wales. Eric says he's totally pissed right now.
Yeah.
And
was he
pissed
loaded or pissed aggravated or pissed that we stopped talking or pissed that we were talking?
Well, probably making a joke about the lack of comment reading. He's pissed off at us.
That's true. It's true. And they should be pretty happy with that right now.
Yeah, should be happy now.
I'm actually trying to regain control of my own friggin'.
So it's all for you, Eric. It's all for you, man.
There's no control, Nick.
All right. So, yeah. Anybody ready to continue on the conversation about our thoughts on how this beer tastes, rating style, all that jazz?
We've all been drinking it for a while, so
we've all been sitting here drinking it a while. Well, I haven't been drinking as much because I've been doing a lot of the talking, but we'll let Joe do some talking so he can tell us what his thoughts are.
Fuck the thoughts. Let's go back to Tiny Rebel for a second. The beer itself is it's good. I like it. I'd much prefer to be drinking this sometime in the middle of summer. Not that I'm a seasonal drinker, but this is like a summer crusher. To be honest with you, I don't feel this is very complex or anything. There's some underneath graininess. There's a decent hop character here, but for the most part, it's just straight on a big tartness, like lemon qualities, but super refreshing, very effervescent, and it goes down extremely well. So this is one that I don't remember. Do you guys remember what the cost in the LCBO was? This like $3 something a can? Like three?
I want to say like $3.10, something like that, probably. Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking if you want to get a 4-pack of it, $12 Canadian. We have this beer imported, although I did buy this in the LCBO to try to get maximum freshness. But yeah, this would be a great summer beer, and it's pretty good. I'd say it's about the same as when I had it at the Albino Run Beer Festival. I'd imagine I don't know if the recipe, now I'm thinking back, would the recipe 8-9 months ago be different? Would they still be using the Nelson Sauvin? I don't notice much of a change, but then again, I had a 5-ounce sample of it. So I don't know. It's pretty good. So I'm enjoying it. Ratings, I'd go 7.5 for both style and enjoyment level.
Right on. And already it's better than Moosehead Pale Ale last week.
Oh, let's not revisit that one. It wasn't terrible.
I was really happy I didn't find it at the LCBO because I was looking for that one to do. And then I went to like 3 different places. They didn't have it anywhere. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Still better than Fuller's Vintage Ale.
Greg, that might be the dumbest thing you've ever said. You said a lot of dumb shit.
Right. Yeah, you'd have to go back and find evidence on that, Joe.
Right. Anyway, moving along to Mr. Ashley Sexton. What's your thoughts?
I am a seasonal drinker. I have no problem saying that. fine. So yeah, I typically don't drink sours all that often outside of spring and summer. And when I do, I don't find I drink them too quickly. I do enjoy like the tart sours, all that stuff, but I find it too much of an attack on the palate if I drink too much of it too fast. So I find with these sours, I'm sort of nursing them a little bit. The nose, I'm getting some like unripened mango, just sort of tropical flavors, or tropical aromas, but just sort of muddled in with some sourness. Get some of that saddle funk, some funkiness to it as well. On the palate, like on the sip, way far at the back, I do get a little bit of like graininess to it, but other than that, it's just more lemon drop tartness or sourness up front, and then just some more muddled sour tropical fruit. But it is relatively easy to drink. I could see how a lot of people would be able to drink this relatively quickly, easily, and enjoy quite a bit. It sort of has that like juicy type of feeling to it. And at 5.2%, you're not going to get too smashed off it. So I enjoy it. I do find when I do have sours, I do appreciate them a little bit more aggressively soured. But so I will say that to style, I'd say this is an 8 out of 10. For personal enjoyment, 7.5.
Okay, that was what in 7.5?
8 and 7.
8 and 7.5.
8 for style.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Let's go over to Mr. Rougebeard.
Yeah, Rougebeard, nice. Thanks, Macwell. I am a big fan of sour beers in general, and this one is like it's basically a normal sour beer, and the hops they chose to dry hop it with, like the Citra, that tropical kind of fruity flavor, it comes through. Like usually sour beers, this one has that smell. Like in general, it's sour beers I find don't smell that great overall. They kind of don't smell good, that funky smell. But you got to get past that and just have a drink, and the taste is more important than the smell kind of thing. And this one, the hops they use really kind of balance out that funky aroma and give it kind of a nice fruity aroma with the funkiness. And I'm a big fan of this beer. I'm going to say, like, overall enjoyment, this is a 9 for me. And style-wise, like, I think it's not the sourest beer, but it's definitely a sour beer, and it's really well done. I'm giving them an 8.5 on the style. Like, this is a good one from Collective Arts for sure.
Nice. All right, and next up we got Mr. Lee.
All right, so before we got into talking about this online, we established that I have a slightly older can than you guys do. Mine is Series 9. So this is probably the same run of cans that first showed up at the NSLC anyway, but it's held out pretty well. It gets nostalgia points because the drawing on it looks like that fucking flying dog dragon thing from the Neverending Story, and it's done in a style that kind of reminds me of the artwork of an old girlfriend I used to have. So there we go. Although it looks like there's like trails of maybe semen coming out of the dog dragon thing. I don't know why that is happening. All I have to say is girlfriend. Yeah, all I have to say is Matt Miller from Bristol, UK. You're a very fucked up person. Yeah, like everyone said, very big time like tart lemony flavor on this. The hops have not faded to the point where I'm, just missing out on all the tropical flavors. They're still there, but they're very much more in the background than I think what you guys are probably getting. I'm figuring that the change of hops probably didn't make a big fucking difference at all. Like since they changed the name or whatever, it's probably pretty much the same thing. I've had better sours. I'd say for style wise, this is probably sit at about a 7.5 for me. It's still pretty damn solid for the style, and my own personal enjoyment. Now you know what? I'm gonna probably sit on a 7.5 as well. I think it's really good. It's nothing I'm super excited about, but I could definitely, like Joe said, I could crush these very, very easily. So.
All right. So what did you say your style was again?
7.5.
7.5 for both.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. So far, this beer is doing pretty damn well. Let's see Chris ruin it.
So yeah, I'm totally gonna ruin this beer right now, but it's probably gonna beat MGD. Oh, where to start on this one? I love the sour beers. I can drink a sour beer anytime. This one, all right. I don't know. Okay, the smell. Redbeard touched on the smell on this beer. It's got that funk. It's got that funky smell. And then once this beer touches your lips and the angels start dancing on your tongue, it is quite nice. I wish that the citra hops were used a little bit more on this one, because if they're gonna I want to say, if they're gonna advertise fucking citra hops, and I want a little bit more of a citra flavor to it. I want to see more of a grapefruit or an orange or pineapple or whatever you want to do on this one. Other than that, it's a good beer. I gave it once before back in March. I gave it a 4 out of 5, which would be an 8 out of 10 on this one. You know what? It still holds up. I have no problem with this beer. I enjoy the sour beers. Like I said, the artwork on this one, I don't know when Collective Arts is going to, jump the shark on the artwork, because that's going to happen soon enough. It's just a matter of time. What else to say on this one? Mouthfeel is good on this one. The, overall impression on this one. Okay, let's talk about the style. I'm going to say, for a sour beer, it gets you right here. That's what it wants to do. I mean, I get it. It's, it nails it on the head. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 for style, for sour. Personal preference, I'm going to stick with an 8 again. You know what? It's going to get the same rating as I had before. So that's what it's getting. 8 out of 10. I like this beer.
What do you mean by jump the shark with the artwork?
You know what? All they're doing right now. Fucking repeat myself. Collective Arts is huge. Collective Arts is huge right now in all their artwork that they're doing. So it's just a matter of time before that gets boring. But
fair enough, I guess.
That's my own opinion. But anyway, so 8 and 8, Nick.
8. Down. You're actually bringing it up. Just say it.
I know.
Yeah. All right. And Mr. Greg, what's your final thoughts?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying I do not like sours. Really, I don't like them at all.
Oh, you're the one that's going to ruin this.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking guy.
And anyone that says they can crush a sour, hey, that's your palate, because this beer will take me like 45 minutes to drink. I cannot crush any sort of sour beer. That being said, there are some good sours out there that are very well balanced, have a lot of other stuff. Basically, I like sour beers that hide the sour. This one doesn't do a particularly good job of that, although it's not a bad beer. It's sort of well balanced, but it's kind of just a little bit too... You got something to say, Joe? You look like you're laughing at me. You're hurting my feelings.
Nope.
I don't know. To me, it's just like basically drinking, I guess eating a underripe grapefruit, where it's just really pithy. It's not quite ready. My beer is super fresh, so I don't know. Maybe it would be better if it mellowed out a bit. So I don't know. 7.5 for the style. It's certainly not the best sour I've had, not by a long shot, but it's not a bad one either. But that being said, for my own personal enjoyment, sour is one of those styles I tend to not enjoy, although I can certainly usually appreciate a good one. And this one's a pretty good one, but it's still nothing for my own personal enjoyment. And I think, would I ever buy this beer again? No. So I'm going to be generous and give this a 5.5 for my own personal enjoyment. And I do think I'm overrating it.
What did you say that you was for style?
7.5 for style. Not a bad sour beer. If you like the style, it's certainly not bad, but I don't like the style. So 5.5, it's basically like I would never buy it unless Nick told me I had to again.
I'm pretty sure this will be the last time I'll tell you to actually buy the beer.
Well,
not that we might not do it again, but anyway, I see where you're coming from. You are bringing a rating down, though.
I do what I do.
Yep, I know.
Ruins everything.
Yep. All right, so like when it comes to my thoughts on this beer, the first thing I noticed is the very moment I opened the can, it was like cutting open a fresh fruit. It was just like I get this big waft of tropical, like mango and citrus come right up in the nose, and the aroma doesn't disappoint. Something that Redbeard mentioned is that usually sours have this kind of funk kind of smell to it, and he's right. When I smell this, it's almost like maybe like the typical dry hopping masks, like the aromas you get from the hops are all masking the weird funky smell you would normally get off of a typical sour. But really, when it comes to all that dry hopping, it kind of blends in with the sour in its taste, and I get this nice complement of like lemon and citrus and passion fruit and some mango and stuff like that in there, and it is quite tart. It's probably a bit more tart than I really would like, but it is very, very light and very quenching. Trying not to quite to say crushable like what Greg says, because I mean I do find that tart beers like this, especially this tart, are a bit more of a sipping kind of beer. But I do enjoy this. This isn't something I would want to buy a lot of, but it's something I enjoyed trying once. Like it's the same. I thought the same of it when I had it at the Albino Runner Beer Fest. Is like I was glad I tried. I'm just not crazy with sours, but this one is all right. Like as far as sours goes, that's exactly what you want. I'm gonna give that an 8 for this style, and overall enjoyment 7.5.
Nice. All right,
there you have it.
Such kick MGD's ass.
It might. I think Greg might have brought it down.
All right. While you're quickly tabulating scores and making the graphic, I'll go to the comments section.
Thanks, Lee.
Okay, so someone named Amanda Gowing came in and said Redbeard, another Redbeard fan.
She used to work at New Ontario Brewing, actually, here in North Bay. So,
oh, really?
Hello,
okay.
Cheers, all the cheers.
Cheers.
I don't get this Redbeard fan base thing, but apparently it's something that exists.
Hi, Redbeard.
Because she said she came here just for you, so there you go. Very heartwarming. Ryan Romano says, Chris is sexy. Never had a good collective arts brew.
Yeah, that's my cousin. How you doing, Ryan?
Did your cousin just call you sexy?
Yeah, he did, and we're going for fucking sexy chicken wings right after
this
fucking review.
That's
okay.
Oh my.
Let's see here. Craig says that he's replying to Eric Gilbert. Says, yeah, we have a few of Collective Arts cans on tap, and in selected places, they're starting to grace most craft beer festivals in the UK now.
Wow.
And Eric Gilbert says, take it all because they're so overhyped. I
kind of agree. Although they didn't make
but Craig says they're not hyped here. And Redbeard says because when they get to you, they're 6 months old.
True.
Okay, let's see here. Most of it is conversation between the people actually in the chat. So, yeah, nothing else to really read there.
Amanda at the end there laughed at the comments you guys made. She's still here.
Yeah. Like, unless you want me to go back and say, ha, 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 LOL.
But if you were a proper comment reader like me, you would do that.
Also, please do that because I don't think Nick's math's the best. It might take a while.
Working on it.
Yeah. What did I just say?
She's got the pen. He doesn't realize Windows 10 has a built-in calculator. Just using the pen and paper.
Also, you should probably throw out the lowest and highest ratings every single week, so you can, take away a rating from someone who says, "I like sours that hide the sour."
That's what, Joe. That's honestly not a terrible idea. Like, because every week there usually is like one person who is like so far below, and not necessarily the high end. But there's always usually a low to it.
Yeah.
The Moosehead Pale Ale, Nick was the high on that one.
That would really count towards, but we were talking about getting rid of the lowest rating, so that would.
No, I said lowest and highest.
Joe said both.
And the caveat being you need at least like 6 to 7 people on like a weeks when you have 3 or 4, probably not ideal.
The downside would be that one person's opinion would be not counted.
And it shouldn't in that situation.
Yeah, like Greg's opinion should not matter right now.
You're going to be reviewing an IPA and be like, well, you know what? I like IPAs that hide the hops.
Yeah.
Except if somebody's... Well, but no, if you don't like IPAs, it's your own personal enjoyment. If you don't like IPAs, you don't like IPAs. So
I like IPAs that hide the P.
Like IPAs, you need to try more IPA. I used to fucking hate IPAs, and I was like, I'm just going to keep on trying them. And eventually, the palate shift. Like, I don't know if it's a thing that happens for everybody, but for me, it's happened in a big way with a bunch of
my palate shift with sours too. I would have probably rated this beer a 2 out of 10 like 2 years ago. So
it hasn't shifted with old ales.
No, if it's a good old ale, I can appreciate a good old ale.
Like vintage?
No, what's the one that Backwoods Bastard or something? Dirty Bastard.
Yeah, that's not an old ale. That's Scotch ale wee heavy.
Yeah,
whatever that was.
Well, that one's close enough, and that one's much better.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Backwoods Bastard myself.
You weren't?
Not a huge fan. Like it was.
I
my palate was. I think it was like I had it when like the palate shift was kind of.
Oh my God, Joe, he likes something that you or he doesn't.
I was
like. Are you gonna berate him?
I'm not berating anybody.
Joe, are you just gonna freak out?
I'm not berating anybody. I'm saying you take out the lowest, you take out the highest. That's what I said. I didn't berate anybody. I didn't say anything. Just settle down, Greg. Greg, get it under control.
Joe is being like remarkably just kind of ultra professional for this.
I'm being the opposite of Greg, level-headed and not crazy. It's okay.
And the way you can sort of view it is like a badge of honor, because you can be like, well, I had the lowest one, and I'm probably better than everyone else now. And the person who had the highest score is obviously.
All right. So while we've been arguing about limiting the lowest or the highest rating, we've lost viewers. So I'd like to get down to talking about what our final scores were tonight, because I think that's what people want to see right now.
Nah.
We are, of course, at 7.85 for style and 7.5 overall, which means that no, it didn't beat MGD.
No.
I'm pretty sure there was an 8 in MGD.
Interesting graphic you got there. I like.
Yeah. I swiped it from Collective Arts Twitter image where they did the name change to Jam Up the Mash.
Cool.
Kind of makes sense though. It's just they swapped positions.
So basically, what we've learned is one low score out of 7 people really makes no.
Random thought right now.
Only when you've got 7 people.
Did Chris like straight up say like he is no longer doing the scores? Because Chris's score image. I don't want to be a dick, Nick, but when Chris was doing the scores for a while, it was like the full screen. You didn't have Microsoft Paint kind of still in the background and stuff. And
you don't want to be. I don't
mean to be a dick.
Yeah, with all due respect,
exactly.
Don't mean to feel it's not like a douche or nothing. But
it still works. I'm just wondering, like, what happened to Chris doing this stuff? Chris was doing it.
MS Paint was part of the charm, man.
You know what?
I do this part as a joke. And
I'll give you that. You know, it works like that. It does.
I'm sure Chris is.
It's acceptable.
Ratings about
it still works.
The graphics that Chris would do, and if he still wants to do the graphics, but he hasn't been on every week.
Exactly.
Again, it's understandable. Totally.
He's got important things to do with his life, like vagina.
Nick, I appreciate it. I think it's classy. Good job, buddy.
It's almost like you stop finger painting once you start fingering.
So what's next week's beer?
Jesus.
Oh God! Did anybody ask that in the chat?
No, I'm asking it now to get those fiascos.
For the love of God, somebody in the chat, please ask it.
Just pretend writing.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna pretend somebody did. We're gonna do Red Stripe.
That's on you.
My God.
I know it's totally on me.
Kind of in honor of Bob Marley. His birthday was like today, I think, or something.
Is it really? We should have done this today.
I think it was today. Somebody put a Facebook post saying like that would have worked out all right. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Bob Marley's. We you know what? Technically today we were jamming.
No, there we go.
So,
shit, are you serious right now?
That wasn't bad. Dude, that was okay.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in the after show because that's horseshit.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Let's. Apparently, Bob Marley Day in Toronto.
Also, I just want to say one other thing that actually pertains to this is for you guys in Ontario, Eric Gilbert said something about Collective Arts being like overhyped. I didn't think Collective Arts had hype. They've been around for like 5 years. Like I thought the hype from them died down 3 years ago. Like
they're more hyped in their general area, and they're hyped for their really expensive beer fest they run.
Well, I've heard good things about that, but I mean, their beer has always been solid. I've never been like, oh my God, it's the best beer ever. They've always been creative, which is nice to see. But like, I've always thought their stuff was hit or miss for the most part. When they hit, they really hit. When they miss, they miss.
I agree. I've loved a lot of Collective Arts beers. Like, big fan of them, but they've definitely had a few that were just like, what were you guys hung over the day that you thought this was tasty, or like what's going on over there? The Liquid Art Fest though thing.
I think that what it was like they started as a brewery that kind of built themselves up, and then there was a couple of beers like IPA number 5 that really exploded and showed that these guys could do some amazing shit. And then, of course, it really comes out that later on that they do a decent job, but that was a flash in the pan for apparently.
I will never say this ever again, but Greg made a good point that said that the Liquids Arts Fest is really because they brought some really awesome breweries from around the world. And they're doing it again this year.
I was going to agree with that.
I'm probably going to go to it.
If there's a festival down there, like
if you're going, Joe, I'm going.
I very much want to go to the albino one, but as well the Collective Arts one. Like there's all these brewers that aren't, they don't like McKellar and stuff. They don't go to festivals. They don't do that.
There's a lot of breweries
that made it happen, and
there's a lot of breweries at Fest that don't even like distribute to North America. So.
Exactly. Yes. Like I would love to go to that festival. The session thing, I'm not a huge fan of. You got to go for the one session. You can't stay for the whole day, whatever. But
I just want to point that out. We can talk about it on the after chat.
Sorry, we can talk about it on the after chat. We should have one of those things that the sound generators just play you off the set.
The fucking big fucking hook with the fucking thing. But anyway, hey, listen, I just want to say with the hype on Collective Arts, it's a fucking
fantastic.
Really?
All right.
That's my stuff.
Go ahead, Chris.
That time it was kind of funny.
It was kind of funny. He just unmuted. All right. He unmuted himself, and I hit mute.
Let's stop touching the fucking mute button for a second. The hype on the Collective Arts is up and down. When IPA number 5 came out, the hype went up.
And because of you.
No,
pretty much. Yeah,
have you seen my videos?
Redbeard bought the other 8 cases.
I was a pretty big fan myself.
But other than that, it dropped down again when 6 and 7 came out. Then 8 came out and it started climbing again. And with the Liquid Arts Fest and all that stuff like that, they hold their own in Hamilton. I'll give them that. And you know what? It's not really a hype train for these guys, but they're up and down. I mean, it's a typical fucking good brewery.
I would be sad if Ransack Universe went away. That's
probably I gotta say, like Collective Arts, like if from a New Brunswick perspective, Collective Arts is one of the best, if not one of the better, if not the best Ontario brewery we get stuff from here.
Well, that's on you guys,
and that's probably why we look at these guys so much. Anyway, if somebody wants to play us out or flash the specific sign.
Oh yeah, something's supposed to happen now. Hey, it's it's time to end the stream pretty much.
Online, and of course it wouldn't be chat without Redbeard's penis.
Penis.
All right.